Good morning. I was waiting for the recording to start. Hello, everybody. It's wonderful to see you. Keep saying hi in the chat. We're going to get straight into it because it's workshop time. And I really want to take this opportunity to give you lots of time to practice this awesome, awesome process, which sometimes the first time you do it, it's like, I do what? And once you get it, and embrace it, it is just one of those awesome tools to have in your pocket. So, hello and welcome. Let me know in the chat box limiting beliefs. What makes you think you've got some? And how do they hold you back? Actually, just answer that for me. How do you think limiting beliefs hold you back? Because I figure if you didn't think you had any, you wouldn't be here. So let me know, how do you see limiting beliefs hold you back? And while you're doing that, I'm going to pop the worksheets in the chat box just in case anyone didn't manage to download them before jumping on the call. Oops. So nice. Thank you. Okay, just start reading some of these. Sorry, Zoom's not keen on me sharing 3 worksheets at the same time, so I might have to just wait for my computer to stop having its conniption. Okay, so they keep me in the safe zone. Ooh, okay, that's a great answer. Subconsciously self-sabotaging. Okay. Limiting beliefs keep my vibe low. Ooh, that's a good one too. Jen says they keep me from earning more, from taking action to achieve my goals. And Carol says they stop me tapping into my intuition, block my success, keep myself small. Catherine says they don't allow me to live my life to the fullest. And Lena says, I think I took on my mother's limiting belief that there is not enough money. Yes, we love to take on our parents' limiting beliefs. Because, you know, our minds are wide open when we're little and we get programmed with all sorts of things, some helpful, some not so helpful. All right, I'm going to have another go at attaching the worksheets for you. I tried to go 3 at once and Zoom was like, no, not doing that. So these are all the ways they hold you back. I'm going to ask a slightly different question. What makes you think that whatever's going on, you know, your vibes keeping low, not earning more, not taking action, what makes you think it must be a limiting belief? I know, curly one, right? Okay, and there are 3 worksheets in the chat box now for you if you didn't manage to download them before. So, in answer to my question, Catherine says, because I know there's more potential to tap into. Cool. Lena feels it in her body. Very good. And it doesn't sit right. We're going to be talking about that. Gisela says, why else would you not do the things? Yes. And it keeps you safe, in inverted commas. Patrice says, if I felt empowered, it would feel totally different in my body. Awesome. Jack says, because my intuition, which is quieter but truer, says different. I love it. And most of you guys are in magnetic money. So what I will say is that you're really in tune with this stuff, much more so than the average candy bar, because you've been doing the work, right? You've been paying attention. And so you're much more switched on. Some people will just go, I actually don't even know what it is. And it might even take a while for them to go, oh, maybe it's a limiting belief. What else we got? Great question, says Carol. Feels like I take a step forward and I go back to the same level. Yes, that, upper limit thing. Jen says, I think a limiting belief is one factor keeping us safe. There can be other things playing a role in inhibiting growth. Absolutely. Yeah, it's often a host of things. So limiting beliefs. I want to spend most of today's call just playing with the process and particularly that second step in worksheet 2, which is kind of the guts of this. But just quickly to kind of set the scene, our brain is a marvelous instrument, but like all tools, you can use it to help you or to get in the way. You need to know how to use it. You need to know how to tap into it. And you need to have a little bit of an understanding of how it works if you want it to become something that is, more and more actually working to serve you. So I do have a saying, don't go digging in your shit just for the sake of it. Meaning, don't get stuck on thinking you've got to find and clear and wrestle every single limiting belief you could possibly have before you can move forward. That's just another limiting belief, because the biggest limiting belief of all is that you have a limiting belief and it's got the power to keep you stuck. I know. Just chew on that for a moment, right? The biggest limiting belief of all is that you have a limiting belief that has the power to keep you stuck. So you're in control, right? You're in control. And some people will just get caught up in this loop of chasing down limiting beliefs. It keeps them busy, keeps them feeling like they're doing something productive. And it also keeps them from moving forward. It's a really great way to productively procrastinate, but it's not necessarily helpful. So your brain is this amazing organism, right? And it's very efficient. And so if you're constantly firing the same neural pathways over and over again, they get really strong. Cells that fire together wire together. And then on the flip side of that, cells out of sync fail to link. So if you can just get in the habit of taking a much more positive tack, those old patterns will naturally atrophy. Neurons that fire together wire together, neurons out of sync fail to link, right? So there's only so many resources, so much energy, and your brain will literally go, oh, well, this is the way we go all the time. So those neural pathways get really strong, everything else gets weak. And so it's up to you to actually practice which ones. So we can just focus on strengthening neural pathways, positive, empowering beliefs that really serve us. And by doing that over and over and over again, we will naturally strengthen those and they will start to replace old limiting beliefs. Now, often, and I want you to get in that habit, especially if you're working with me in magnetic money and so on, I want you to get in that habit. That's why I'm constantly saying, what good things are happening today? What's going on? Like, tell me all about the evidence of abundance in your life, because we need to get in a habit of thinking a certain way that's going to serve us so much better. And that takes practice, because often we have a lifetime's worth of habit of worrying, of seeing the negative in things, of only seeing the 1 out of the 10 things that didn't work and obsessing over it and beating ourselves up over it. So a large part of it is actually just getting into that habit of looking on the positive, on the bright side, right? Of practicing those empowering beliefs and looking for evidence of them and reinforcing that. And it kind of starts to then take hold and starts to take over. However, sometimes that feels a bit slow and hard and frustrating. And also sometimes it just goes a little bit deeper. And so the process we're going to go through today, what I want you to know about it from the very beginning is that this is not about, oh, it's like that thing never existed. That can happen, but it doesn't need to. What we just want to do is kind of, go in ahead with, I'm not into chemicals, but if you want to go in ahead with the weed killer, before you plant your garden. You can just start planting the garden, starve the weeds of nutrients, and make sure you only fertilize and water the things you want growing, and they'll take over, right? You starve the weeds, you feed the things you want to have growing, and they take over. But sometimes you just want to go and do a bit of a cleanup first, pull out as many of those weeds as you possibly can. And that's kind of the way I want you to see this process today, and the way I want you to approach it, because this is a DIY process ultimately. We have live workshops, so you get to practice it with me and be reminded of how to approach it, but it's something that's just a tool in your tool belt. And what it really serves you, how it serves you best, is you just going, well, this is just me kind of getting a little bit of a head start. I'm just going to shake things loose. I'm just going to, weaken those old neural pathways just like in one hit, but I don't have to magically make them completely disappear. So it's important that you recognize that, because the main job you have always is practicing laying down those empowering neural pathways, those patterns of thought, habits of behavior, and all the things that serve you, right? So how do we know that there's a limiting belief that's really starting to cause us issues? Well, the easiest way to know is when you have negative say that the right way around, Miriam, when you have persistent negative emotion. So a belief is just a thought you got in the habit of thinking. It starts out as a thought. Oh, maybe there isn't enough money, to use an example in the chat box. Maybe there isn't enough money. And then something happens that reinforces it. Oh, maybe there isn't enough money. And it happens again and again and again. And then you get in the habit of thinking there isn't enough money. And eventually you get in the habit of thinking there isn't enough money without even realizing that you're thinking it, which means it's gone from a conscious thought to an unconscious belief. You don't even realize it's there anymore. Just like sometimes you'll leave the house and go, did I lock the doors, turn off the stove, put on some shoes? You're just doing it unconsciously. You don't even have to be paying attention anymore. And when it gets to that level, because you don't even know what you don't know, or you're not aware of what you're unconsciously thinking, what beliefs you're holding, it also then starts to manifest as negative emotion, frustration, fear, all of those sorts of things. So when you have persistent negative emotion around something, it's a little bit of an alert to say, well, there's probably a limiting belief going on here. Okay, so any questions, pop them in the chat box. I'm going to just highlight this here. I don't want to spend a huge amount of time on this, but you've got 3 worksheets in this limiting belief busting toolkit that I've given you. And you've got some meditation audios. Actually, I was looking at it today, and I think I'm going to drop an extra one in there for those of you who only have access to this and don't have access to Magnetic Money or any of my other meditations. So I'll give you a little bonus one. So step 1, this worksheet really is just about, especially if you haven't done a lot of this work before, uncovering your money blocks and your stories around money. So I just want to, we're not going to spend time going through this today, but I just want to highlight that this is here. And so, when you think about money, take note of what do you associate to that concept of money. And money is what we tend to focus on because it's a big deal in our lives. And it's also where all of those deeper limiting beliefs around our own self-image show up and manifest in a way that's very, very tangible and in our face. So money is wonderful for showing us all the ways in which we need to grow as people, because it's your self-image that's ultimately reflected back to you. Excuse me. So this is about you actually sitting back and going, okay, where am I at with money? What is that predominant wiring I've got going on? What have I conditioned my body and my brain to do in relation to this topic? How do I feel about money? So this is a good process to go through on a regular basis, to be honest, even if you're doing the money work, but especially if you haven't done this kind of work before. And just exploring, what are some of those early memories around money? What messages did you get from your parents around money? What do you remember them saying and doing? And like I said earlier, we're programmed with that stuff when we're very young. We don't get to choose. We just take everything at face value. And how can you see that already affecting the way that you relate to money? Just exploring that early messaging, the early programming from what you saw as a child, from your parents, your caregivers, your teachers, goes a very long way towards you going, oh, I can see where my patterns came from. And knowledge is power, right? Because as you start to see that a lot of this stuff isn't even mine, I just kind of took it and ran with it without stopping to think, it puts you back in a position of power where you can literally go, well, it's not even mine for starters. So guess what? What if it's not even true? And this is what we want to do here. So with this process, I kind of sat down and put something together that you can do on your own where you're working with your unconscious. And when you work with me as a hypnotherapist, I'm just the tour guide. I don't do the magic. Your unconscious does the magic. And so all we need to do is we need to help you get into a place where your unconscious can examine some of these things in a safe space where it's not feeling threatened and go, maybe there's a better way, right? So now I'm on worksheet 2, which is I call step 2. There are these 3 power questions, and I want you to just remember that these are here as well, because these are really great questions to just stop and ask yourself when you notice yourself with negative thoughts. When you have some negative thoughts pop in that you're consciously aware of, you can stop and go, where did that idea come from, right? So you're questioning your unconscious. You're going, where'd you get that idea? And I've got a note here at the top, just entertain these questions. Sometimes you don't have an answer. That's okay. What you're doing is you're prompting your unconscious to look for different connections, to look for other ways. And that's the crux of this process. We're getting your unconscious to stop running the old patterns and just interrupt that pattern and have it go, well, maybe there's a different way to connect the dots here. And that's really powerful. That's incredibly powerful because you're really weakening that old pattern and you're inviting your unconscious to look for different ways and different connections. Does that make sense? So asking, where did that idea even come from? What if it's not even true? What if it's not true? And what if the opposite was true? These 3 questions are really powerful because you can use them consciously when you have negative thoughts, but they also speak to those deeper limiting beliefs that have originated those thoughts. And so, yes, that you're working at the conscious level here, but it's actually trickling down, like weed killer, going down all the way into the roots and really destabilizing the system. So pop them on a Post-it note and stick them somewhere to remind you that they exist. 3 really powerful questions that get your unconscious to stop running the old program and just start looking for some new ways of putting things together. But that's not even the really juicy part of this process. Level 2, that's what I really want to spend our time playing with today. So we're working on from the premise that negative feelings point to limiting beliefs. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with the feeling. So I'd like you all to pick something because this is a workshop and we're going to get interactive in a moment. I will be asking for 1 volunteer to go through this process with me so we can demonstrate it. So just take a moment to write out that first statement. I feel X, X being the negative feeling, about Y, where Y is a particular situation. Keep it reasonably succinct but meaningful. Give you a moment to do that. Okay. Now, who would like to play? Isha's hand went up. Awesome. Thank you, Isha. Fantastic. And by the time we're done and you guys all go through this, you're all going to go, can I have a go too, please? Hang on. Let me just lower your hand for you. There you go. All right. So let's do it. Let's hear it. You need to unmute, please, my love.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Giselle, I just saw you then. You can go next.
Okay.
Go for it, Isha.
So I guess I feel confused about our financial situation, almost like our financial mess, because I don't mind money.
Okay. Is confused the right word? I'm just going to make sure we've got it right, because then you started saying financial mess, which to me feels much stronger than the word confused. So is confused the right word? Are you pulling your punches?
So when we did, the first thing you asked us in the first worksheet, and the first thing that came up for me was money was fun, confusing, challenging. So, and I think that's why I get in a muddle. So when I say our financial mess, it's like I've cleaned up a lot of our financial stuff, but we still are in a position where we've caused a lot of we need money, and it's doesn't make any sense to me, because I'm
right,
actually good with money.
We'll run with confused. I'm asking you because often the feeling's a little bit stronger than that. And
confused and maybe frustrated, angry.
Oh, well, angry is a long way from confused, right?
Well, I guess if I really want to get into it, it pisses me off.
Okay, thank you very much. Because I was going to say, if all you're feeling is confused, this is probably like, taking a nuclear bomb when you could just use a hammer.
Okay.
Okay, I feel pissed off about our financial mess.
Yeah.
That's a bit more honest.
Yeah, and
yeah, it's a bit more, that feels better. Okay, good. So thank you for demoing, because this is important for everybody else. If you work with me, you get very used to, we, like I said at the beginning, we train ourselves that we're constantly creating our reality. So we focus on what's going well, what's going right. And sometimes it's like, oh, you want me to be negative, Miriam? Is that allowed? Yes, it's allowed. It's allowed if you're doing it in a productive environment, like with the, as part of a productive process. And sometimes it's necessary. In Magnetic Money, we have some processes like the one that I call the judo flip. You need a bit of negative momentum. And here again, we've got persistent negative emotion that points to limiting belief. All right. So we got this far. This is the first step. So tell me in one sentence, why do you feel pissed off about your financial mess? Usually starts with because.
I was literally about to say that, because it always feels like it's on me to fix it.
Okay. Because it's always on me to fix it.
Yeah, and that's probably across everything. It was with my parent. It's now And yeah, it's on me to fix it.
And what you said just now is a very important point. It's not, we talk about money a lot, especially in a program called Magnetic Money, but it's not really about money. It's much deeper than that. So why do you feel X about Y? Why do you feel pissed off about your financial mess? Because it's always on you to fix it. Okay. This shows you the limiting belief, because our reasons are our beliefs. That's important to note. Your reasons are your beliefs. If I ask you why do you believe? Why is this happening? Why is this going on? Whatever you tell me, that's what you believe, right? Does that make sense? So our reasons are our beliefs. So out of all of that, I mean, you did it very succinctly straight away. What's the limiting belief? I even highlighted it for you.
It's always on me to fix it.
Yeah. And it might even just, you might even just go, you know what? I can even just condense that down to it's always on me. So just take a moment to feel into that. Or it's all on me.
Yeah, it is everything. My business can only succeed if my children are a reflection of, I guess, my success. So it's on me to always be supporting them, helping them. Everything is on me. Yeah. My relationship, the whole fucking lot.
Yep. See how quickly we got there though? Right? All we did, and it's just recap for everyone's benefit, all we did is we went, right, what's the feeling and what is it in relation to? Like, what's the situation and what's the feeling that is being triggered by it? Because that negative feeling points to the limit. It shows you there's a limiting belief. Otherwise, you wouldn't be feeling like shit. You'd be feeling awesome, right? Something's holding you back. Something's getting in your way. Something's, stuck in the way. So then we just ask, well, why do you feel like that? And the reason you give me is the limiting belief. It's that simple. Like, it's that simple. So that was pretty easy. Okay. Now's the part where it gets a little bit more tricky. So this next question is where people go, huh? And the reason you go, huh? And you don't have to pull the face that I'm pulling, but internally, that's the face everyone pulls. And the reason you feel that way, you're meant to feel that way, first of all, right? So you're not doing it wrong if you feel what I just did. It's perfect and it's working and it's meant to feel that way, because what we're doing is we're actually interrupting the old neural pathway, and we're just putting your brain in limbo for a second and getting it to look for a new connection. And that feels really weird and really a little bit uncomfortable, right? Because it's not just going, oh yeah, I know where to go here. Everything's always on me. It's all shit. It's pissing me off. My children, the money, it's our financial mess. I know this inside out. I can do it with my eyes shut, right? I do it 24/7. This is like pattern interrupting in a really major way, but at the unconscious level, literally stopping your brain from firing and going, shit, where else can I go? And it feels really weird. So having said that, everything is on you. So the question is, what are you afraid would happen if you didn't feel pissed off? What are you afraid would happen if you didn't feel pissed off about it?
Oh.
See?
Oh.
Your brain's going, huh? What? Is there even another possibility out there? And what am I actually trying to protect myself from? What are you afraid would happen, Isha, if you didn't feel pissed off about the financial mess?
I wouldn't have a purpose. I wouldn't be significant. I wouldn't be useful. I wouldn't be Oh,
It's good, isn't it? I love it so much. Juicy. It's uncomfortable and delicious all at the same time.
Ooh.
What's going on? What's going on? Describe to us what's going on for you right now.
Well, at first it was like when it was What Was I'm Afraid? That was like, yeah, it was a complete roadblock. Then it was like, I suppose, like chills a bit. And then it was immediately, well, then I wouldn't have a purpose. I wouldn't be useful. I suppose I wouldn't be loved.
You're taking the deep dive, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not scared.
Yeah.
Because
So
I'm over it.
yeah, it's because you're realizing what that feeling was trying to protect you from, right? So, first of all, before we move on, I wrote down both I wouldn't have a purpose, and then you said I wouldn't be loved. So, which one of these is the deepest level?
They feel very, very entwined. But maybe it's loved.
Okay, I'll trust that.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. So, if you didn't feel pissed off about your financial mess, you're afraid that you wouldn't be loved. And you said be loved, not feel loved. So that's interesting. Do you, yeah. Do you really believe that?
I think I do.
You think you do?
Well, if I think,
do you really believe you wouldn't feel loved?
I know I'm loved, but I think it's be loved in or is it be acceptable? I think it's a really deeply ingrained cultural conditioning that you had to have money to be okay in society.
Okay. So you're recognizing the conditioning, but do you really believe it?
I think I do, yes.
Okay. That's cool.
I don't want to. I think it's a load
that's fine.
I'd love it to be a load of shit, but
you really believe that. All right. That's okay. We'll roll with yes, even though you're trying to argue with yourself. But so what I've got in here under question 4, if you guys can see this, when you answer this, if you come up with a yes or with I think maybe I do, even though I don't want to, it's good. Like we're shaking the tree, right? We're weakening things. And I mean, we've gone a bloody long way already, but the more weakening we can do while we're here, the better. So I don't want you to think that just because you say yes, it hasn't worked. You felt it work just then. All that discomfort was your unconscious going, oh, shit.
It's definitely working. I guess, do I believe that? No, I know that I'm loved.
Oh, no. Okay. You've already changed your mind. See, you just needed a minute. But no, thank you. All right. Just give me a second because I want to finish explaining this. So even if you, Isha, or anyone else watching, if you actually come out with yes, and even after sitting with it for a while, like Isha just said, if you're still like, yeah, I think I do believe that. It's not nice. I don't really want to believe it, but I think I actually do. That's okay. You've still done most of the work already. And what you can do to shake it loose a little bit more and weaken it is you can go up to that level 1, those 3 questions, which we can do just for the hell of it anyway. So I wouldn't be loved. We might just, so we can take it up to the top. Let's just add that. I wouldn't be loved if I didn't feel pissed off about our financial mess, just so we can take it with us. So you can just take it through that 3-question process and it'll just break it down a little bit more. Does that make sense, Isha? Yep. So we'll do it just for the hell of it anyway, because it's a good example. So I wouldn't feel loved, just really quickly, you wouldn't feel loved if you You wouldn't feel loved. Where did that idea even come from? You already answered that.
My mother.
Yeah. What if that's not even true?
Well, it is. It isn't true.
Hmm.
I mean, it isn't. It is. Well, okay, it is, but it isn't. Can you close the door, Brenna? It isn't true.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Yeah. So what if the opposite was true? And if it's bullshit, then the opposite must be true, right? So what if the opposite was true? What if you're loved no matter what your financial situation?
Well, that's why I'm saying it's bullshit, because my mum was loved. Everybody loved her, but she let that belief close her off.
Yeah. Cool. So now we're at a no.
Yes,
We're
it's
here.
a no.
Okay.
Utter rubbish.
All right. And then, so we've done a lot of work now, right? But we can go a little bit further. What are you afraid would happen if you didn't believe that everything is on you? So, Z, if you didn't believe Z, which is this limiting belief, everything is on you. What are you afraid would happen if you didn't believe that everything's on you, Isha?
Nothing would get done. Like, we would end up in poverty, because my husband's really complacent. He leaves it up to me.
Cool. So I just want to stop, press pause again, and just point out to everybody, question 3, we were digging into what is the feeling trying to protect you from? And now we're actually asking, what is the belief trying to protect you from? So slightly different, right? We're just attacking it from a few different angles. All right. So if you didn't believe that it's all on you, you would end up in poverty. Do you really believe that, Isha?
I don't know, because
your husband would just let you all end up in poverty.
No. No.
No, it's just convenient that you like to take control, isn't it? I think everybody's going, oh shit, yeah, I relate to this on so many levels. If I didn't do everything, then you guys would have to do something too. Oh, shit, yeah. So isn't that interesting? Everyone's like going, oh my God, I'm hearing you. This is gold. Yep, absolutely. There's probably a couple of people going, I don't need to do mine now. Thank you. Okay. So again, if somebody responded still, yes, we would end up in poverty, then, go through those 3 questions on level 1 and just shake it loose a bit more. But we don't need to, because she's laughing. She's laughing. So what if that old limiting belief that everything's on you isn't true? What would that mean?
Oh, that's a brain buster. I guess I would just have to relax, do the things that I like to do, stay in my own lane. And
Good.
maybe get my husband to step up.
Get or let is my question.
But blended. He's a lot better, but sometimes I don't know. I will be genuine. I don't know how much of this is me getting in the way, because I just have done it so long.
And the belief certainly didn't help, did it?
No.
So what could you choose to, what could you choose to believe instead?
It's weird, because I really do know everything's always working out for me.
Yeah.
So that's
what about something that is much more helpful than everything's on me? What's a good belief to replace that particular one with? Not just a good empowering belief, but a good replacement for that one?
Nothing's on me. I don't, what sort of, everything's on me. It's like everything's easy, or I don't know. It's like
What's this? What's this? Is this like a bit of lightness on your shoulders?
Yeah, it's like trying to get rid of it.
Piss off.
Oh, just go away, leave me alone. No.
So choose a new empowering belief that can take its place. You can refine it later.
Is it everything's like I think I'm a little bit stumped. What's an empowering belief?
Well, go back to maybe what would it mean if it wasn't true, right? If you could relax and do the things you like to do, what belief would that be embodying? If you're letting your husband stand up, if you just relaxed a bit, what belief would you be embodying?
Could it be I've got a great team around me?
Or something like I am supported.
I've got a great, I've got a great team. I'm wonderfully supported by my family and friends.
Awesome. And what would become possible if that was true?
I could just back off, let them become the team.
And where can you already see some evidence of that being true?
Oh, in quite a lot in the house, like we've come a long way. My husband, he'll do the grocery list and he does a lot of the cooking. So do my kids.
Cool. Good. So you've already got some evidence of that being true. So what do you need?
Definitely, yeah.
What do you know you need to do next, Isha?
I don't, is it chat to my husband?
Good idea.
It's probably, it's not even like it's not even chat to my husband because it is chat to my husband, but it's me. I need
having to actually
work on like my anxiety. Yeah, it's like how I've got to find how to let go. You know what I mean? It's almost like that's his business, that's God's business. That's like I'm just going to stay on my business, stay in my own lane.
Yep. And that is your first step. That is your first practical step, having a chat to him about it and actually voicing it. Well done. Congratulations. Thank you for playing.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Can I get the file?
You mean this, what we just wrote out?
Yeah,
actually, I should save it. I will save it with your name on there. Thank you. I'm going to let you mute yourself. And I just want to thank you so much. That was really helpful. I'm sure can everybody give Isha some love in the chat, please?
Thank you, Miriam. I really appreciate that. That was really good.
It's very helpful. So I want to just remind everybody that it's meant to feel uncomfortable, especially when you get to what are you afraid would happen, right? And that number one, it's meant to feel uncomfortable. That means it's working. Number two, remember, you don't have to completely like make it disappear like it never existed. We're just shaking it loose. So what I'd like you to do is like do your own, if I'm sure many of you have already started, but do your own. And I'm just going to check in with Gisela and Anna to see if they'd like to go through it with me maybe you're partway along and you want a little bit of guidance. Let me know, Gisela, where are you at with it right now?
Okay, so I've gotten to the belief busting. I think sometimes my brain sort of, you know how it does that thing where it just tries to go past stuff and like so nothing really happens.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So you're trying to avoid the discomfort, basically. All right.
I think that's what it's doing.
Yeah, it's trying to keep you safe. That's okay. All right. So
right,
it is just hit me with it. So what's your X and your Y? I feel what about what?
So I feel scared and angry at myself about not running my own business instead of earning in a professional job.
Cool. And so do you have this one?
Yeah, because I was told art is not a real job from young.
You're still running that one, are you?
Yeah. Well, with doing the whole work of getting into practice some creative stuff, it's just really, it's raging.
Good. Excellent. I'm happy to hear it because you can only heal what you can feel, right? As my hypnosis teacher used to remind us when we were just, rocking in the corner in the fetal position. Hang on, I'm just taking out Isha's things just so we don't worry, Isha, I've saved it. Don't panic. So, all right. So art is, what did we say? Art is not
a real job.
A real job. What are you? Sorry, my neighbour's doing things. Hopefully you can't hear it. My art is not a real job. What are you afraid would happen if you didn't feel afraid and angry at yourself?
I'd be disappointed that I didn't reach my potential.
So the anger's keeping you from feeling disappointed?
No, it's the other way around. What is it? It's not letting me feel comfortable with doing the thing. Oh, see what I mean?
So if you didn't feel scared and angry at yourself, then what are you afraid would happen if you didn't feel scared and angry? What are you afraid would happen, though? What are you afraid would happen? I think this is where you've got yourself in a tiz because you've got a couple of layers. So say what you were about to say.
I'm afraid that then I'd be exposed.
Yeah. And what are you afraid? And are you afraid of being exposed, or is there something unlike that as a next step after being exposed, or is exposed the one?
Vulnerability of having your expression out in the open.
So your art would be judged?
Yeah.
Oh my God, typing. Don't judge my typing. My art would be judged. So this is an interesting one because when you said something else before about, then I would actually get on with it and do it. But that's not what you're afraid would happen. That's what you want to have happen. But there's something underneath that you're afraid of, which is your art would be judged. And you might need to play with this a little bit more and just make sure we've gotten as deep as we can. But this is good. So your art would be judged. Do you really believe what you just wrote, that your art would be judged?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And so this is a bit of a like we've gotten to what's really going on. So I think this is like a new belief. This is actually a new limiting belief, right? And this is interesting because you've done a lot of this work and this is something you've been working on a lot. So you can keep running with it and try, because my art will be judged. Well, maybe it will, because everyone's going to have an opinion.
Yeah.
But the fact that you care, that's the bit you need to worry about, right?
I think it's because I'm moving away from doing stuff all the time. I've been realizing I've been doing other people's styles or new ideas like that, but I haven't actually done my own thing, as in finding who I am to express.
Yeah.
And that's scaring the shit out of me at the moment.
Yeah. So you've just uncovered a much deeper limiting belief, which is great, right? Which is a limiting belief around, like we've gotten rid of that level, but you're now more at a level of, and we don't have a huge amount of time, so I'm sort of just trying to jump ahead a little bit, but it's probably more around my art's not good enough, or my art is not unique.
Maybe it's that I'm not good enough with it.
Yeah.
That feels more like a thing.
Yeah. So you can kind of cycle around again.
Yep.
And actually work on that level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have to actually feel scared and angry at yourself because you're running your own business. Because you've got a job and not your own business. You can actually now just go, okay, I need to work on feeling really comfortable in my art, in my own self-expression. That's actually what this is all about.
Okay.
It's nothing to do with my business and my job, because those sort of negative emotions, right, that stop us from going deeper. And so that's what all of that has been trying to keep you safe from actually going, oh, this is about me finding my own self-expression, my own unique voice, and actually running with that. That's what I've been trying to keep myself safe from.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh. So that's, yeah. Good work.
Okay. I'll go play
with
that.
Good work. Good. That was a good example too, because sometimes, it sort of goes a little bit in a different place, but that's okay because we've gotten past that top level and that's what we want to do. And of course, in Magnetic Money, we've got Money Story, which is a beautiful process to go to that higher level, and that knocks out a whole bunch of limiting beliefs that are all intertwined like this. Let me check in with Anna Mason. Anna. Hello, my lovely. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm amazing.
Do you still need some help with this?
I think I do, because I've just hit a spot, but I'm also doing very well at spinning my wheels to not be so uncomfortable. Okay. So I feel shit scared and frustrated about fully committing to my coaching business again.
Yep. And why do you feel that way, Anna?
Because I'm scared of it failing and being seen as a failure.
Ooh, so what would the limiting belief be possibly, do you think, maybe?
I'm a failure.
Oh, honey, I just want to give you a hug right now.
And that's as far as I've got.
Oh, I'm not surprised. That's, facing our limiting beliefs can be really shit. So now we get to, what are you afraid would happen if you didn't feel shit scared and frustrated?
That I would actually succeed and I would be living a life that makes me truly happy. Sorry.
That's what you're afraid would happen?
Oh, no, if I didn't feel. Yeah.
So we're asking,
Whoa.
basically paraphrasing, we're asking, what is the feeling trying to protect you from?
The feeling that is trying to protect me from.
What are you afraid would happen if you didn't feel shit scared and frustrated?
That I wouldn't be loved and accepted. I wouldn't be accepted and loved for who I truly am.
Do you really believe that?
No, because the people who I let see me is who I truly am do love me.
Okay, good. So we'll keep moving. What are you afraid would happen? And Gisela, sorry, you need to make sure you get to that next question too. What are you afraid would happen if you didn't believe that you're a failure?
That's the bit that came before. So that I would actually be successful and I would be living a life that was in true alignment and made me truly happy.
And is that what you're afraid of? I'm writing it out, but what's the belief trying to protect you from? What are you afraid? So the word afraid is important here, everyone. What are you afraid would happen if you didn't believe that? Because the belief and the feeling are both trying to keep you safe.
Right.
And it's meant to feel really weird and uncomfortable.
It is. I am afraid. What am I afraid would happen if I didn't believe
That you're a failure.
that I'm a failure?
If you didn't believe that you're a failure, what is the worst that could happen?
Worst that would happen if I didn't believe that I was a failure. I'm really finding this a little bit challenging. What am I afraid of if I didn't feel I was a failure? Is it trying to protect me? That it's trying to protect me from being loved. No.
So what are you afraid would happen if you didn't believe that you're a failure?
That I'd be seen.
Ha ha ha. Thank you very much. Almost wrote it for you.
It took
I've been sitting here for the last 2 minutes. I was like, I know that's what's coming. That I would be seen.
Slow.
No, well, the cogs are slow because that old neural pathway is the dominant pattern, right? And you can't even see that it's actually about this.
Yeah.
You know, they say it's not really fear of failure, it's fear of success.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I would be seen. And what would be the bad part about being seen? Let's just continue that sentence.
And not accepted.
Yeah. Do you really believe that? What you just wrote. Sorry, I have typos in this. I just realized. Do you really believe what you just? Do you really believe that you would be seen and not accepted?
No.
So congratulations, because you've just figured out or really allowed your unconscious to go, oh, I see what this is actually about. And it's not even true. So what if that old limiting belief that you're a failure isn't true? What would that mean?
That I would embrace all of me and sit in alignment with my true happiness.
What was that word? And what in alignment?
Sit in alignment, be in alignment, sit in alignment, be aligned with what truly makes me happy.
Okay. So what could you choose to believe instead?
I am fabulous.
Yes, you are.
Just as I am.
Oh, isn't that much nicer?
Yeah.
Good. All right. I will leave you to continue the rest because I'm sure you've got that.
Thank you so much for your
Feel
help.
better?
Yes.
Tell me how you're feeling. Just give us a quick run through, like what emotionally, what went on internally for you as you went through that process.
I could feel so much resistance. And physically like I was going to throw up. And like the world was ending because I'm not dramatic or anything. And really heavy, and most who know me know I am visual, so it was really dark and heavy and restricted and uncomfortable.
And then?
And now I can breathe and there's light.
Yay. Thank you. Beautiful. Good work too, because it was a slightly big one. And you did really well. And I didn't actually say this at the beginning for everybody, but it's good to practice this on maybe not the biggest thing going on for you right now, just to get the feel for it. But that's okay. While I'm here with you, it's totally safe. So let me just quickly talk about worksheet 3, which is moving forward. So when you get to this is your home play. Restate that new belief that you came up with on the previous sheet. Have a little bit of a reflection of how you're feeling and how things have already shifted and what are you ready to do differently. What else do you want to change? Because sometimes, often, almost always, there are quite a few things tied in together. I apologize if you can hear the neighbour with a snippering or whatever they're doing right next to the fence next to me. And then very importantly, write a letter to yourself from your future you, the one who's already successfully moved way beyond all of this, right? So take some quiet time, sit down, tap into that future version of you because they already exist. They have the wisdom, they've been on the journey, they have all the love in their heart for you, just as you have for your younger you now. And just trust what comes to mind and write yourself a beautiful letter of guidance. And that is the entire toolkit. So you don't always have to go through the whole process. You can just use those level 1 questions on the second worksheet, right? You can just use the main level 2 process that we've just demonstrated a couple of times. And if you're totally new to this, you could just do worksheet 1 and just get started with a little bit of an understanding of what's actually going on for you when it comes to money, abundance, and allowing yourself to have all the things you want to have. All right, so that concludes the main portion of this workshop. For those of you who are happy to stay on, I said we're going to do a little guided visualization, future you. So that's just a little bonus for showing up live. So I'm going to say farewell to those who are watching the recording. You have a recorded version anyway. This one will be just slightly different. If you're in Magnetic Money, remember we have the next level process of the old money story anyway. If you're not in Magnetic Money, get on it. I will send you some details on how you can do that. And remember that while you have access to this limiting belief busting toolkit, every time I run a live workshop going through the process like this, you're able to come along, just register when I send out the shout out to register. Come along, take yourself through this process, have a refresher, get some practice with me. Thank you for playing today.